Welcome back, Jared.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome to my life.
You know,
good to have you here.
How many MVP votes did Victor Wembanyama garner by just doing math on the fly? Can you explain, like, what happened there in that press conference?
Well, the human calculator, as he's been known his entire career, obviously. What was funny is he breaks the fourth wall every once in a while. And I don't know what made him want to do it this time. I think, honestly, what it is just when he has a question, when we have a question, and then he in turn has a question, he's just like, fuck it, why don't I ask? So it was this press conference. He decided to flip the script, and he just started calculating everything out because I think he was like genuinely trying to explore the concept in real time of what we were talking about, and nothing really stops him from doing whatever he wants.
Look at Amin's face right now.
Third eyes across the world are shut on this one. I'm going to open it up for you guys. Number one, half of that math wasn't hard. NBA media, just not good at math. That's why they're at NBA media. That's why they're writing stories as opposed to, I don't know, doing math. Number two, and this is important, he employed a very specific technique. I'm very familiar with this technique because I employ it sometimes too, which is to ask, like in a very vague way. Oh yeah, so it's 80% of that. What is that, like 22.9? You say it like that because you already know what the answer is, yep. But you're trying to convey, I'm ballparking it. I don't actually, not doing the math calculations in my head, but when I ballpark it, people will think, ooh, he's really good at math. Look at him, the human calculator. I used to do this all the time. When we talk about a player, and particularly like, hey, doesn't he remind you a little bit of so-and-so from Brandon Roy? I'm like, yeah, but, he's a much better three-point shooter. He shoots 40% from three. I think Brandon Roy's like best year was like what? Like 32? I'll say it like that. When I have already looked it up and I know here's the advanced level. You don't say the exact number. You ballpark that number. So the exact number is like 31. You say, it's something like 32. And it's like, plausible deniability. He didn't look it up beforehand. But man, he got really close. It's all a clever ruse. And it's endearing, clearly, because half of you fucks can't even do math, and the other half just want to believe that everything about him is so incredible.
The added layer is, of course, the Wemby face. Look at this face.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is the thinking face of a man doing 75 times 20.
Which is the easiest thing. 75 times 2 is 150. Add a zero on it. That's it.
That's the easiest one. This was the one where he's definitely embellishing a little bit because he did 50 times 35 off the rip, 1750.
Yes, it's half of 35 and then multiply that. Like, that's again, this isn't math, folks. This isn't math. This is
what you're saying, Amin, is that when he goes, hey, what's 75% of 82? That's
that
61 and a half. You're saying he already did that going into this interview and already knew that he was going to. This is like, what's his name? Oz, the mind reader.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That he already knows the answer and he has to get people to that answer in order for him to look like he's right.
Third eye open, folks.
Jared, do you have any? Is your third eye? Do you have like a fourth eye on this one? That actually the third eye is lying to Amin here.
He's got to start with his third eye first because he's been going to two eyes. I can see it. I can look.
I'm kind of four eyes right here with the glasses going, but I've been around Wemby long enough to have several eyes from several different vantage points, constantly doing the work for me. And in a world of AI, these are just agents. Like these are just agents that I am programming and letting them go off and do their thing, and they'll bring me the information they need eventually. And the only information I needed is that, sure, Wemby may not be a math genius relative to you or I, a couple of geniuses here, but to most of the American public education system, I would say him just doing 10 times 10 off the rip is probably pretty impressive.
Facts.
That's it exactly, Jared. It's the French education system versus the American education system,
which is what this podcast is really about. I mean,
that's what I've been smuggling in over hundreds of episodes at this point. Is the baccalaureate is actually where it's at. This is elementary for Victor Wembanyama to actually do math in his head. But if you compare him to other NBA players or even NBA media, wow, oh, look at this magic trick by the alien. Oh, look at the puppet dance. But, ask Rudy Gobert some of these questions. Let's see how he does.
Probably well.
Bilal Coulibaly, perhaps. Maybe he'll be able to do a little percentage off the top of his head.
Zachary Research.
Don't we have Rudy Gobert? Don't we have Rudy Gobert on line one to tell us if this is impressive or not? I mean, Victor Wembanyama might win Defensive Player of the Year over Rudy in part because he's the human. Yeah,
Victor is going to win. No, mais no, Victor. 75% of 82. How about 66% of 300 is 200?
What?
Yeah,
we cannot do math. Le mathématique. C'est pas difficile.
That means it's not difficult. That's what he said in French.
I want to hear Rudy go.
I'm a French genius now because I translated it on the fly. Oh, wait, maybe I should have done a face.
Yeah, you should have done a face.
I think he meant, yes, it's not difficult. Yeah, there you go.
You gotta hold the microphone too. I've noticed that I feel like this is a trend of if you want to be a face of the league, you want to be a truly elite player, you have to hold the microphone when you're at the podium.
It's spreading. Remember when Dirk did it and it was like this weird German dude, just leave the mic alone, and he would just sit back. He'd be very casual in his post-game presses, especially since back then, if you were on the podium, that means it was a playoff game. We didn't do this for regular season games. And now it's an epidemic. Everyone's picked up the mic off the thing and just sit back like they're Bill Cosby doing stand-up, sitting in a stool.
Why do you have to choose Bill Cosby of everybody?
Because he used to sit down.
Because it's a meme.
Yeah, Amin's just always got to veer into...
Because I'm a stand-up comedy genius. Let me remember a comedian who would sit down doing his stand-up. Oh, yeah, Bill Cosby.
If it was a musician, it would have been R. Kelly. It's just the way he rolls.
R. Kelly doesn't sit down.
But he holds a microphone.
Does hold it. Yeah.
Wait. So Wemby, he made the 65-game threshold. The rib contusion that he suffered, and then he came back and played. Do you think that Wemby has now put himself in a position where the 65-game rule could come back to bite him in a way that he was playing to get the 65 games, suffered this rib contusion, and now I feel like in the post, whoever they play, the Spurs, they're just going to be sharp elbows all the time, man.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the irony is the team they're most likely going to face, and we're taping this before the play-in, is Phoenix. And Phoenix's whole game plan this year has been, we're going to have a bunch of fours just beat the crap out of him at every single layer. So he's going to need extra padding on his ribs. He didn't he played in that game. He didn't suffer another injury. It didn't make it worse. It hurt a little bit, but it'll heal up over the next week and a half. So he should be fine. I don't think he did anything that was completely irresponsible. Guys play sore. It happens. The reason he left that game with the rib contusion was because the game wasn't important. The one that he left, he would have kept playing if it was an important game. Guys get hurt at this time of year. A rib contusion injury, it's an important injury, but it's one that you can play through and it can heal and all that. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I think you're missing, your third eye must be still crusty or something, because you're missing the big scandal here with Wemby in the 65-game rule, which is that he didn't actually play 65 regular season games this year. He actually bent the rules.
This is my favorite thing ever.
Classic Wemby move here. I'm going to play 64-game rules, and 64 games, and I'm still going to qualify because fuck the haters. The NBA Cup final is the most important game of the regular season, as we all know, but it doesn't count in the official stats, just like the play-in doesn't count in the official stats. It makes no sense. So I think Wemby, he sat out those games, not because he was hurt, but because he wanted to hold truth to power to make sure that the NBA Cup final actually counts in official stats going forward, because that's what great leaders do.
A game that doesn't exist until it exists. A game that the stats disappear into the ether until someone needs to win an award, and then all of a sudden it counts.
This is now the Wemby rule.
I'll tell you why. Exactly. Right. So once upon a time, NBA players, their salary was for a game was 1/82nd of their entire salary, right? So you got suspended for a game, you got suspended 1/82nd, right? And then I want to say it was Mark West in like 80 something got traded from the Cavs to the Suns, and as a factor of the quirk in the schedule, he ends up playing 83 games. His agent then says, my client is underpaid and needs to get that extra part. So what the NBA did was they changed it to basically 1/110th of your salary as a single game. That 82, that 110 factors in the 82 plus the maximum possible number of games you could play in the playoffs, which is 28, 110. Boom. The play-in and the NBA Cup final both represent above and beyond the regular season and playoff games. So if they were to count the stats, now those games count in a way that would not count if we treat them like preseason games. So that means you would have to be paid extra. So what the league does is says, these games don't count other than just to determine certain things. And that way they don't have to pay the players extra for that extra game.
I can't wait for our next lockout when a player protests because they played in the cup final. They won they lost and then won a play-in game and then went on to win a championship in a 7-7-7-7. And they're like, what the hell? Where's my extra 3 games here? I want that money.
Well, I think they locked that up iron tight. Like they don't have to worry about that anymore because of the way it's written. I mean, again, this is why when you ask them, hey, why don't play-in stats count? Because they don't. Well, why not? Because they don't. Are we going to keep track? We're not keeping track. That's all. They just kept saying no. They never told us why. Even if we have a separate category for, hey, who's scored the most points in play-in history, they won't even track that part. Because if they do, now it's real.
Yeah, I did research on the play-in tournament. Like for the Blazers, like, how many times does the 8 seed get into the play-in tournament? And you could not find the answer, or the playoffs. You could not get the answer on NBA. You could not.
The games don't count.
And the only place that has that source of information is the almighty Wikipedia. So I'm citing Wikipedia data. And even on Basketball Reference, it's hard to find play-in data. But like that 1 out of 82, people think that's like a big number. It's a small percentage. It's like 1.1. 1.2.
You want me to bring in Wemby for
5%?
Calculate this.
It's not that big of a number.
Get those eyebrows.
I mean, I think it's actually closer to like 1.24, but I don't know. Off the top, I just don't know the answer to that.
Wow, Tom.
You know what I love is every time you bring up that Wemby clip, it shows like the Illuminati logo behind it just to make sure that we see the logo before we start processing the image, just so that it's subliminally planted in our heads.
Oh, yeah. Subliminal.
Can I continue to hijack the pod? I have another question here for Tom.
Yeah, let's go.
What did you think of Mike Breen's rant? I don't know what to call it. Speech on the local broadcasters losing the first round as someone who is, for the most part, elevating the Blazers podcast to a completely different level. Because I agree with them. It's heartbreaking that we don't get our local guys and girls.
Let me answer on behalf of
we're
Tom.
cutting this one from the final pod, are we?
This is Luther, the anger translator right now.
Yeah, let me answer on behalf of Tom. And here in Phoenix, I got Eddie Johnson, and we've got Ryan Hollins in Houston, and all the people across the land, including Mike Breen, who, remember, before he's the ESPN lead play-by-play voice, he is the lead play-by-play voice for Madison Square Garden Network. This is an extra bit of money. We want to go 1 out of 82 on these. It's an extra check.
1.219%.
Yep.
Yep.
that they're all missing out on.
Genius.
It's beyond the like, oh yeah, the fans miss our voices and our local coverage. Sure. Also, a lot of you guys are out of some money, and that sucks. You know, I'm all for it, but at the end of the day, you know, I don't think we live in an era where people are starved for a local perspective in terms of analysis. Meaning, and look at Tom. Tom's giving me death there right now. It's like, hey. That's it. Meaning, like, there's going to be no shortage of Blazers-centric coverage surrounding the game. It's just they won't be broadcasting the game.
How dare you? How dare you? I will say, Mike Breen, it's great that he's speaking up because he is a national TV broadcaster, the NBA Finals broadcaster. So he can stand on this, right?
Third eye open. He's also the Knicks broadcaster. He's not doing this for Spiro Ditas or who's the backup over there. Alan Hahn. He's not doing it for them.
Shitting all over the local who's the backup over there for the Knicks? I mean, do you realize that the double bang call with the Moose game, the sports betting scandal that we did, that whole call from the Knicks sideline, the courtside shot of Carmelo Anthony with our guy Amar, that was from the local broadcast, Mike Breen.
That wasn't an ESPN game? That wasn't national?
The double bang shot from Dante DiVincenzo, that was the local broadcast. And so when Carmelo is high-fiving a guy who's been in trouble for the sports betting scandal in the NBA and the Jonte Porter case, that was because the first round of the NBA playoffs has a local broadcast, and that is no longer here. So we got the gift that we were seeking.
Well, you know what? There's plenty of radio calls that are local that'll be going on throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Support your local radio guys. Shout out to Jason Jackson in Miami. He's only got like one or two of these left.
So wait, you're supporting Jason Jackson, but not me sitting right here on the show? You're like, whatever, you'll find coverage.
We can only support one bald guy at a time.
TV fat cats, man. You guys need to be cut down, knocked down a peg. I'm a radio guy at my heart, Tom Haverser. Always remember that. Before I podcasted, before I did TV, I was on radio first. Always a radio. Once a radio guy, always a radio guy. You know what? We all stick together around here. Radio guys. My guy John Bloom here in Phoenix, JB, we all stand together. Radio guys. Steve Holman in Atlanta.
What is happening right now?
I don't know.
Aren't you a national radio guy? Aren't you the problem?
Yeah, but we don't butt out our local people. We support them. We bring them on our shows and shit like that.
Fair enough.
These TV fat cats, they want it a different way.
Amin mentioned Eddie Johnson and the Phoenix Suns. I want to talk about this story because, Jared, you are not just the human calculator correspondent, the alien correspondent of extraterrestrial life forces. What about the terrestrial correspondent here on Earth? You went and did this story for The Athletic that just dropped today on Tuesday. One of the most fascinating NBA stories I've read in a long time, just completely off the normal path and quite literally into a portal into a different dimension. So, Jared, can you explain the Devin Booker story that you dropped on The Athletic today?
Yeah, when you asked me to come on the show, I was like, oh man, timing has never been better. This is an Illuminati story through and through. So I'll tell you how the story came together. So there is an artist, my favorite artist, my greatest inspiration. His name is James Turrell. You've probably heard of him if you were a Kanye fan before. At least we knew he was a Nazi. I think it was the Dark Twisted Fantasy like movie that he made for that album. He shot it at this spectacular, remarkable place that looked too good to be true. It looked like a Stanley Kubrick set or something like that. It's this place in the desert called the Roden Crater. It is literally a volcanic crater. Yep, here we go. That has been built. It's not even done. It has been under construction for like 50 plus years by Turrell, who is this artist that does these massive light installations. He does naked eye observatories where you're in this like spectacular space with a hole in the ceiling so you can see the sky from a totally different lens. All of his work is all about manipulating your senses to expand your mind and to change your connection to the earth and the sky and the cosmos. And so it's my favorite work. I have a neon light flooding one of my walls in my apartment right now to kind of mimic the experience that I get when I'm at a Turrell piece. He's one of the most famous artists in the world if you're into contemporary art. And Devin Booker was lucky enough to go visit the crater, which is only open to invited guests because it's still technically under development. And so I was sitting in one of Turrell's sky spaces, as they're called, that are open to the public in Scottsdale back in like November before a Suns game. And I was talking.
Is this when we went to dinner that night?
Yeah, exactly. And
like, I got something to do. I'm like, what you gonna do?
And so I was talking to this guy that was sitting there, and this is a guy who's been to like almost every Turrell installation across the world. He knows everything about Turrell. And he mentions, Devin Booker went out to the crater. I was like, I can talk to Devin Booker. I should talk to him about the crater. So talked to Booker. Booker told me it was like walking into a portal to a different dimension, and the hair was standing up on his arm. He was getting goosebumps just remembering all the times he's gone out there. And I was like, you know what? This is my chance. I'm going to reach out to Turrell and see if he's down to talk. And sure enough, after about 5 months of trying to schedule it, we talked for almost 2 hours, and we talked about how he manipulates light, why he was fascinated by Booker and the bond that they formed. And so the story is about Booker going into literally this tunnel itself as you're seeing it, and finding not just himself, but finding a connection to like nature and the sky and this release that you get when you go into this meditative state in Turrell's work. And so the crater is it's literally a large volcanic crater that has been transformed into like one of the largest artworks on the face of the earth. And Booker is very lucky to go there. I'm hoping the Suns end up winning the play-in tournament just so I can go down to Phoenix and have a chance to go visit the crater, because Turrell is one of the most fascinating people on earth.
Yeah, this is an incredible story, and I'm learning about it on the fly. So excuse my ignorance on the Roden crater and all that. But
actually, I'm going to put my hat on here just to get into my James Turrell vibe.
Wow. For those who are not watching, Jared Weiss is now wearing a cowboy hat with some sort of, I don't know what animal skin is on the top of that, but
I think it's just a little cow bandana kind of vibe, I think.
Okay. Lovely. You also went to Keldon Johnson's ranch as well?
All right, let me ask this question, because has Keldon Johnson always been like this, or is this got to San Antonio and like, wow, I really enjoy the culture, I'm going to be a cowboy now?
So he actually did grow up as a country boy, as he said. So he grew up in like rural Southern Virginia. He, fished, farm, like animals, all that stuff. It was a part of his childhood, but he always wanted to have his own ranch. So during the pandemic, it's funny, I ran into George Hill at the game right after, like the day I put the story out. And for those of you who don't know, George Hill owns like what's basically the largest like animal reserve in the country, or one of them. And he has like, it's basically the Serengeti. He has zebras.
He's from Indianapolis.
Exactly.
What are we doing here, man?
Listen, man, some of us want to be country boys. And if you're making $10 million a year, why not go for it? So KJ got inspiration once he saw George. He talked to George about like, how do I set this thing up? And he's got himself a nice little ranch going there. That horse right there, his name is Forrest. He has another one named Moo. He has a donkey that's named El Chapo, who he constantly calls an asshole. And actually, my favorite part of the day was El Chapo was like limping around. I was like, what happened? He goes, he's probably out there being an asshole, trying to chase the llamas around and got hurt. So he had to call a vet just to take care of El Chapo.
You know why I like this horse right here? See his third eye? It's glowing.
Look at that. It's wide open.
That's the Illuminati horse right there. Well, actually, the Illuminati horse is the one at the Denver airport, but this is like the living incarnation of the Illuminati horse.
I still haven't seen Lucifer, and everyone gets mad at me when I say that.
Real?
See, look, every time I'm there, I somehow miss it. And this is what the exact reaction everyone has. I don't know. I somehow miss it every time.
It's massive.
I don't know. I keep missing it. My third eye completely shut.
Your two eyes are shut too, apparently.
We'll have to send you there maybe in the second round. You can make a little trip down and find Lucifer, get some boots on the ground reporting.
Sure, I can do a live Illuminati correspondence from Lucifer. Get that one. See if I can get that one-on-one interview. I'll reach out to Denver Airport PR, see if we can set that up.
Should be no problem.
Yeah.
I'm reading now. George Hill's animal reserve is 800. Hold on.
Yeah.
850 acre ranch. Dwarfing the land areas of the biggest zoos in the country. You know how big 850 acres is? That's like,
I don't know. Let's ask Wemby.
It's like
how many kilometers?
1,000 football fields, or somewhere in the range of. No, it's actually probably closer to like 997 football fields. But no one. I mean, who's counting? You know.
Wemby's counting. For sure.
That's the math.
That's probably about 3 football fields, as you say. There you go. That's the point.
Wait, Jared, is this covering the NBA? What's your next bucket list thing that you're going to find a way to use the Athletics dime to go report out that story? Like the Devin Booker connection, you're like, oh, I found it. This is it. What's the next one?
Honestly, the Turrell was like my bucket list interview. That was like the number one person, dead or alive, I wanted to interview. So now I got to find a new dream. I've already met Amin, so I kind of like checked off everything off my bucket list. I guess.
Drank with Amin. You didn't drink Turrell, I bet.
That's very true. I didn't drink with Turrell yet. I don't know. I guess.
Is it a concert? Is it a meal? Is it something that you can?
Let's see. My friends just had dinner at French Laundry the other day. So if the Warriors somehow win the play and end up in the conference finals, I'll have to do something on.
You gotta hook up with Festus. Festus has decided that he's a food influencer now in the Bay Area. Festus Ezeli. So just find a human interest piece on Festus, and then you and Festus can go to the French Laundry. It'll be great.
I don't know. Could we go to maybe the French Laundry? I don't know. Just any restaurant.
Tom's in on that too. If Tom can find a way to be a part of that story, you got to loop him in on that one.
Story about French Laundry, which to me has to be overrated. There's no way it's that good. There's no way it's that good.
Coming from a man who does most of his cooking in the microwave, I'm not going to take your word on this.
What are you talking about?
That's American Laundry right there.
Exactly. Look, just because I don't make it doesn't mean I can't taste it. I've been to fancy restaurants, really good restaurants. There's one called Durant's right here in Phoenix, downtown, not named after Kevin Durant, but it's a long-time old-school steakhouse. Delightful, delicious. Had it the other day. I've been all over the world, Mags. What are you talking about? I've had food in all types of countries.
And you've had no palate in any of them.
Says what? Says who?
Wait, hold on. I want to stick here. There's something in the story that Devin Booker that I'm a little unnerved by. Invited guests only. Okay, so this is the most Illuminati thing: is that Turrell will only let you in if he signs off on it. So, do you know anything about this inner circle that he can only invite you into this space?
Well, I mean, you have to be someone of not necessarily renown. And that's one of the important things that we mention here is it's not about being famous. It's about being interesting and creative. He also, he has a program with ASU where one of the kids in the art program there can come and visit every year too. So you could enroll at ASU if you'd like to go take a visit as well. I'm going to see if I'll get the invite. We'll see. But hopefully doing a feature on him in the Athletic will be enough. We'll see.
I mean, I'm more interested in the other way around. So Turrell is a hoops head.
He is. He mentioned Gail Goodrich like 4 times in the interview. That's his old friend.
Oh,
that's awesome. Because he's from LA, right? So is he a Lakers fan?
From Southern California.
But Goodrich played for the Suns though. So
1 year, I looked it up. And that's how they became friends. He played, or was it 2 seasons? But he made an all-star team in Phoenix.
Yeah. Who says I don't have a palate?
You're great at basketball stuff, but you just tried to take shots at the French Laundry. So I'd say pump your brakes, son.
It's $500 a head. Like,
it's probably more than that at this point, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, inflation is what the percentage. I don't know. Is it what?
Straight up Hormuz.
10.76548%. I mean, who's counting?
Hey, so it's a tasting menu, all right? So they bring out a bunch of things. One of the things they have is mac and cheese. If they run out of mac and cheese, you can get some more. You know how much it costs? $160. $160 mac and cheese. It's noodles and cheese. No, No chance.
What do you have against noodles and cheese? Those are two of the most delicious things on planet Earth. And you're
$160.
I mean, there's probably like a pound of white truffle shaved into that or something like that, I'd imagine.
What's the best pizzeria in America? I mean,
Pizzeria Bianco.
Oh, and it's just bread and cheese. Mm-hmm. What's the big deal?
It's not $160. That's the big deal.
It was like 30, 32.
Yeah,
it was worth it. It was worth it. It was great.
Of course it's worth it. It's
the highest margins on in any restaurant is pizza. So it should be like 30 cents.
Mac and cheese got a higher margin than that. If you charge $160, it's got a higher margin. I guarantee it. Truffle.
Sounds like we need to start a mac and cheese bar, clearly.
Real quick, before we let you go there, Jared, this is a peek behind the curtain on when you have a big story like this. Were you secretly hoping the Suns would get the number 6 seed so we wouldn't have to worry about what if the Suns miss the playoffs and I have to get this out ASAP? The play-in tournament, it drops in the play-in tournament for a reason, folks.
Yeah. It actually worked out for the best because they are the biggest team playing on the slate. It's actually not going to kind of wash into the ether.
Yeah. Whoa, he's sitting right here.
I'm sorry, buddy, but you're not broadcasting the first round, so you're just not that important anymore. I'm sorry.
Scoot Henderson and them boys.
Actually, Jan Hansen erasure right there.
The Blazers were in town. I had a really good time watching them. It was my first time seeing them up close this season. They're a fun team. So, but it worked out that they are one of the 2 most important teams playing on the play-in slate. And so there's going to be more focus on them. And also they might end up playing the Spurs, who I cover. So I will be there anyway. So it kind of worked out that way. But I got lucky, frankly, because I got the Booker interview done in November. And I was like, I am going to sit on this interview until the day I die so that I always have an excuse to hit up Turrell and be like, hey, buddy, you want to talk? And thankfully, it finally happened. I was literally emailing them every 3 weeks because they initially said yes. And then I would follow up, be like, all right, let's set it up. And then didn't hear back I would email every 3 weeks. So I've been doing that for the past 5 months. And I was landing in San Francisco and I thought of Turrell. I was like, I should probably just send an email. And I was literally getting my bags at the airport where they emailed back being like, yeah, he's ready right now. And I was like, oh my God. So I ran back to the airport and got it done. And then was like, all right, I got a few weeks here. Why don't I set it up for when the Suns are playing in the postseason? So it worked out well. But yeah, there was definitely a little bit of sweat factor going on there, hoping that the timing would work out.
Here's the pitch. Wemby and Keldon Johnson and Mumu go to the Roden crater.
Ooh,
with Devin Booker. What if that's the pitch? That's the bucket list where you get all of them in the crater
and
with Turrell.
And Lucifer, of course.
My pitch was you gotta somehow get Wemby a new nickname, which is the French Laundry, because he's cleaning. He's cleaning everything out.
That's the end of his career when he's washed. We'll call him the French Laundry.
Yeah, I need his mac and cheese recipe.
You sit down with Wemby at the French Laundry in Napa. We've talked about Wemby's math skills, his mathematician, his multiplication, his 3 out of 4 percentage, but geometry is also math. And Jared, you got to witness Jokic on the fly solving the geometry of how to get a ball over Wemby's wingspan. So the calculus that went into that epic game from not the last game of the season, but the week before, what was that like watching that live?
You know what's funny is, maybe this is hubris talking, but the second I saw Jokic go up for that shot, I was like, that's going in. And maybe it's just that Jokic is that great, but there's something about him that it's like he can defeat whatever angles, whatever air pressure, whatever physically is conspiring against him, Jokic can dominate it. And it was funny. I was watching the Nuggets play the other day with a friend who doesn't watch basketball much. And I was trying to explain Jokic, and it was a funny exercise trying to explain Jokic to someone who doesn't know who that is. And I was like, just imagine someone that could do anything from anywhere at any moment. And that's why, when we look at the MVP debate or who's the best player in the league, as spectacular as Wemby is, as much as his intrinsic impact is probably the greatest, there is just something to the fact that Jokic, no matter where he is on the court, you always think that the shot's going to go in. And him and Steph are the only two players I can think of off the top of my head that I've always felt that with. So when he took that shot, the most ill-advised shot anybody could possibly take in the history of basketball, I was like, good shot. Good shot.
How about hot take here? Hot take.
Yes.
It wouldn't have been considered that crazy if it weren't for that camera angle of that cameraman. That was an awesome shot of him smothering Jokic and then a somber shuffle. And then you just see this giant being trying to block the shot and the ball was right over the top. But the actual main perspective, it was a good shot, but not like an epic shot. So I kind of think the real MVP is that cameraman.
It's like Michael Jordan's shot against the Jazz in Game 6, 98, right? Like the regular broadcast angle is like, oh, he crossed him up and hit a shot. Wow, big shot. But the behind angle where you see the entire crowd kind of like terrified and he's holding that follow through, woo, goosebumps. Look at him right there.
I mean, Tom, I think the Sombor Shuffle, obviously it's got the branding, but the floater is the better shot. He took a floater from like 4 feet away, threw it up above the backboard and got it to drop in perfectly. Like taking it, what should be a very easy shot, but adding the compounding factor of a 7'10" alien swinging its arms and having to do that on the fly. That's the math that impressed me the most.
And what the point Tom is making is totally true, but it's also like, it's not like smoking. It's not the magic of TV. One thing that's just so hard for people to understand, and this is almost like the lesson from the Roden Crater too, is that the NBA it looks almost normal from higher up, where you have the depth perception and all that kind of stuff. When you're down low on the court, especially when watching guys like Victor and Jokic, that's where you're like, oh yeah, these guys are literally the greatest on earth. It is so insane. The speed of the game is so much faster than you could possibly imagine when you're down at court level. It's like, it's kind of scary sometimes. Like I remember a time I was sitting, I was at a Laker game and, media seats at Lakers games are like on the baseline, like, like 4 or 5 rows back. So you can't touch the court, but you're close to it. I remember LeBron thundering down the lane for a dunk, and the entire table I was sitting at shook when he landed on the ground. Like that's how much, and I was like 15, 20 feet away. That's how much power these guys have. So that shot by Jokic, like that was some sort of Artemis 2 shit that he was pulling off there.
You want some perspective on how big these guys are?
Give it to me.
Have Shaq set a screen on you. It's like the Empire State Building. It was like running into the Empire State Building. It was like, because I was on ball and then like, oh, I'm trying to guard the thing, and he just, by the way, he barely touched me. But any of you ever been in a car accident? You ever have whiplash and you hear your neck do that? Like that's exactly what happened. I got whiplash just running into Shaq. And then, he probably never even noticed that he touched me.
How many vertebrae are in your spine? Like what percentage would you say that is?
It's less now.
Yeah.
Hold 3 vertebrae.
Mic, hold that mic.
How many? 16? I don't know.
Yeah, let me tell you real quick, as someone who knows Wemby, Taco Fall very well, Shaq is still, I think, the most physically striking human being I've ever seen. There's something about the whole freaking mass of him is just wide. It's insane. He's so wide. It's like watching a sequoia walk down the street.
I can't remember. I think it was Jared Dudley. I can't remember who it was. It was one of our younger players. And it's talking about practice. It's like when you're trying to get around his screen, like you try to go under. Tell him to go under on the screen. It's like, I'm trying. He's like 3 miles wide though. It's like. To get past him is just a chore. Forget about him touching you. Just to get past him is a chore. Shaq is, I think the hardest thing for people to understand is not just that how big he is, it's but how nimble he was. As someone that size, you'd think he'd be slow and lumbering, and he wasn't. He was very quick on his feet. As far as like the most striking, just large human being ever, I don't think I've been up close with Taco Fall, but Yao Ming was also like a really weird thing to see.
For me, the champ is Boban's hands.
Oh yeah, Boban. Yeah,
Like
Have
he
you
was
ever
in the
shaken
locker
Boban's
room one
hands?
time holding a cell phone, and I could have sworn the cell phone was like like a little iPod shuffle.
it's like the phone from it's like the phone from Zoolander, right? They're like the
Will Ferrell. Well, yeah. What was it? It was Jimmy Fallon and Will Ferrell when Will Ferrell walks in or strolls in on the little stroller. Hello? Yes. Bye-bye. Yeah, I think that's a good comp, is that skit, because Boban's hands, that's just ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Whenever you dap up like someone like Boban, Giannis, like it's always funny when their hand wraps all the way around your hand and like touches their own hand, and you're just like, how is this happening? Like the height thing doesn't really faze me anymore, but whenever they I think I dapped up Wemby the other day, and his hand just like envelops my entire body. I was like, oh yeah, he's a little bigger than me.
And your hand is in a cast right now. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm hurt going into the play-in.
Yeah. Wow.
All
You didn't
right,
want me to write about it.
We need to get Jared Weiss to the Roden crater. We need to get Jared Weiss to the French Laundry. We've got a couple bucket list items to achieve. Hopefully it's a lucrative playoffs for you, man.
It's been going pretty well so far leading into the playoffs. I'm anticipating some more Illuminati appearances, hopefully. I gotta say, the only, you know what would have been on my list, but it's already checked off, is appearing on the Illuminati. Genuinely my favorite pod in the world.
And now
I love you guys. Third
eye open. Wow. Get a little patch for that cowboy hat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, send it over. I'll sew it in right here.
I'm looking at the art of the Athletic story you wrote. How Devin Booker's visits to this art icon's hole into space transformed his career. Thank you for transforming this podcast into another portal and dimension, Jared Weiss of The Athletic. Thanks so much, dude. We'll have you back on soon.
You can describe that to the listeners.
It was kind of sexual what you were doing.
Whoa!
In your forehead.
Whoa, okay, I'm taking the hat off then. Jeez.